Hi, I'm Brandon from Dorian Creech is Dead, and this is the story of Maximum Carnage and the Green Jelly incident. Spiderman Venom Maximum Carnage is a game that I have a ton of nostalgia for, which is kind of strange considering the fact that I never actually owned it growing up, but we did rent it a couple of times. And I remember several films that we owned on VHS playing the game's extremely memorable advertisement before they would actually start playing the film. And it was practically impossible to flip through a comic book without seeing an advertisement for the game somewhere in those pages. This game was absolutely iconic. The artwork on the box was terrifyingly perfect, the cartridge was red, and it was incredibly difficult, at times bordering on frustrating. But again, the cartridge was red, and it did look cool. Every few years, I get the urge to play it again, so I ended up snagging a copy of the Sega Genesis game off eBay before starting it up and promptly being reminded why it was so difficult as soon as I got to the second stage where I had to climb a building while constantly being shot at. Now, what this game absolutely nailed was presentation. That was true in advertising and packaging, and also true in visuals and sound. The game's cutscenes were literally brought to life straight out of the pages of the comics. And the soundtrack was composed by a band called Green Jelly. And trust me when I say this soundtrack freaking rips. It's easily one of the best of the entire 16-bit era. Now, I'd only ever heard of Green Jelly because of this soundtrack. But they actually had a gold record off their hit song, Three Little Pigs, which is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's the Three Little Pigs. In 2017, I was embarking on my very first tour with the band I was in at the time, and the second to last date of that run was actually opening for Green Jelly in Cape Coral. On the way to the show, I looked them up and discovered that they had actually been the band behind Spiderman Venom Maximum Carnage, and I got really, really excited. It was such a nostalgic game for me, and like I mentioned earlier, that soundtrack rips. I was really hyped for this show, and hoping that they would play their song Carnage Rules, as it's basically the same as the main theme from the game. But here's where things got weird. So far as I can recall, they played that Three Little Pigs song, and if you were expecting me to list more songs that they played, I actually can't, because so far as I can recall, they played that same song a bunch of times and then just called it a night. Now, this was the second to last night of my very first tour, so I was tired. Like, really tired. And maybe I'd been drinking a little bit, so it's possible I'm just misremembering. Maybe this was all a fever dream. But there is some evidence that it happened exactly like I remember. Bill Manspeaker, the vocalist from Green Jelly, was quoted on December 5th, 2017 in an article by Charles Runnels from the News Press about this Cape Coral show, saying, "We'll definitely be playing the pig song for sure. My dream is just to come and play that song, do it for like an hour long, and leave. That's my ultimate goal in life." So what really happened that night? The world may never know, but in my head, it will always be known as the Green Jelly incident.